Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Battlestar Galactica. So, as I was mentioning on the end of the last video, assuming you guys are watching any of these in order, um, I tossed out the idea of just doing an all-support run. So, every character, I picked support characters. Not only did I pick support characters, I picked support characters I've never, ever played before. Now, the reason why this is possible, for those who need a refresher. When picking characters, the only limitation is you have to either pick from a role that has the most still, or it has to be a support. So that's the only reason why you can do an all support run. It's not actually possible to do things like all political leaders or anything like that. At least not without doing things like a bunch of executions or something like that. So the only way to start from the beginning of the game with all one type is with supports. I also went ahead and deleted all the other characters except for the remaining two supports, so if they die, we can replace them and kind of go from there. I've already assigned the role cards. Gaius Baltar was kind of at the top when it came to President, and then when it came to the rest of it, Callie was always one step above Doc in every single role, including presidency. So she's both Admiral and CAG, and Gaius Baltar was like bottom of the list for those two. So we got Admiral, CAG, Callie. As for what order they're in, I rolled it ahead of time. Callie got the highest, and then Gaius Baltar and Doc tied, and then I just kept rolling until the tiebreaker happened. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and quickly just go over their abilities again. So Callie has a good variety of skills. Her once per turn, once all skill cards have been played in a skill check, let's see, hold on a second, on your turn, once all skill cards played into a skill check have been revealed, you can choose one to discard before resolving. This is actually really, really powerful because it allows you to remove like cards that spike the deck, either from a Cylon or from the Destiny deck, or you can just remove a bad effect before it does any special effects. Her once per game ability is she can literally execute somebody. She just moves to someone and just executes them. There's no stopping it. And her negative trait is she has to put in more than one skill card into a skill check. She can't just put in one unless she's in the brig, which in a 3-player game is not really a negative trait. For those who watched the previous playthrough, I did a 3-player game, and it was pretty easy. We didn't get any Cylons. Spoiler, we didn't get any Cylons. But not only that, but everything was kind of just in our favor for that one. Granted, I did play characters that I was generally pretty good with and are pretty good in general. These three, they're going to be interesting. Gaius Baltar is 2 politics, 2 leadership, 1 engineering. He's not really much into engineering despite being a support. His special abilities, he can actually take people's miracle tokens or give someone a miracle token. His quote-unquote once per game, he can't actually do unless he has 3 miracle tokens. Gaius Baltar is the only character in the entire game that can carry more than 1 miracle token. And so he can't actually do his quote-unquote once per game unless he gets 3 miracle tokens, which means essentially he has to go and steal two other people's once per games, which, I mean, last game I didn't use a single one of the once per games, so it is a possibility. His negative trait is a benefit for Cylons. Essentially, if usually whenever you play the You Are a Cylon card as an action, you get to do a special effect, unless you're in the brig. For Gaius Baltar, it's the opposite. He actually wants to be, if he is a Cylon, he wants to be in the brig, because then he'll just kill himself there and he activates his effect anyway. Now, if he's not in the brig, he can't activate it, so it's actually a negative trait for Cylons in some aspects. He's going to be the president, which is probably not the best. Our third character is Sherman Doc Coddle. He is politics, tactics, and engineering. Some people say he's the worst support character, mainly because of his negative trait. But his special ability is he can spend an action to choose a human player and draw 2 skill cards from his skill set. So essentially, he can be like, I pick Gaius Baltar and draw some leadership, or well, that's pretty much it. That's really the only option. Everyone else has the same colors. And then after he draws those 2 cards, he can give them 2 of his cards. So that's one way to get around his negative trait. His once per game ability is not useful at all, and I don't plan on using it. So essentially, he can look at each civilian ship on the board and then choose one to replace with another one from the box. Um, it's uh, it's not great. There's just it's I mean it's as long as you put forth the effort to. I mean, I guess it's like the only use for it is like an emergency. Like if you're about to lose a bunch of civvy ships, you might as well see what all of them are, and then get rid of one of the heavy ones. His negative trait is he is the only support character who cannot actually use the actions on engineering cards. What this means is cards like repair. He can't actually go and repair things with repair cards. He can still play them in skill checks, but he can't actually use them during his turn. So he can't use action cards. He can still do skill check cards. Um, so yeah, essentially what he would end up doing for Doc is literally he would have to give someone else his repair cards and have them do the work for him. It's pretty messy. Anyway, as for where they start, Doc starts in the research lab. Gaius Baltar starts in the Admiral's quarters, and Kalendra Kali Tyrol starts in the hangar deck. Alright, we're going to go ahead and shuffle all the decks. I'm going to shuffle Silence, shuffle Damage, shuffle Civvy Ships, shuffle Damage, shuffle Super Crisis, shuffle Destination, shuffle Crisis, shuffle Treachery, Politics, Leadership, Tactics, Piloting, Engineering, Base Star Damage, Mutiny, and Quorum cards. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get the 2 Civvy ships out. Everything else has already been set up on the board. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a Quorum card for the President. He has an inspirational speech. Go figure, it has his picture on it. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and get this taken care of. It's going to be 6 not a Cylon cards because we have 3 players, which gives us 5, and then we have the Exodus expansion. There's still that slim chance that we might not get Cylons, but it's pretty unlikely. That was the first time I've ever had it happen. Do note that it says the other things it can also get +1 card for is Gaius Baltar, but only the original version. What we're playing with is not the alternate version. This is not the original. The alternate version is a political leader and has longer hair. So yeah, it's going to be 6 not a Cylons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1 not a Cylon, and then we'll shuffle. Okay. With that all said and done, we're going to go ahead and get our cards. Well, that's a start. Well, at least we'll have that going for us. I mean, the last game, not only did we not have the Cylon, but it was just so favorable to the humans. Like, everything was just pretty nice, besides the loss of, like, 3/4 of their population. Anyway, so right off the bat, we already have someone ready to go. If you are not in the brig, you may place a Centurion card on the start of the boarding track. That's a pretty good one. Alright, with that said and done, let's go ahead and get our starting hands. Gaius Baltar is going to start with, he's going to go, you know what, he's going to go heavy into engineering. Get all that going. Okay. For Doc, he's just going to start with a bunch of politics. Well, actually, he's going to start with tactics and 2 politics. Okay. And then Callie is going to start with her standard hand. So 1 politics, 1 leadership, 1 tactics, and 2 engineering. Just like our last game, we're not going to have any piloting. Not that we really needed it at all. So this time we can't even get piloting cards. Alright, and that is it. So we are good to go. We can go ahead and get started. So there's definitely some things we can mess around here with. Political prowess is super, super strong. So right now I could literally wipe somebody out off the board. So you know what? Let me check one thing about executions. Okay. I just wanted to confirm all that. It's going to get messy. Alright. So Callie goes first. And she's kind of got an opportunity here. So what she's going to go ahead and do right off the bat is she's going to go ahead and go to the airlock. Switching ships. Switching ships does require a discard, so she's going to discard Executive Order. And then she's going to activate it. So choose a character and pass the skill check to execute them. It reduces it by 4 if they're in the brig already, so it would be an 8 skill check instead of a 12. This is also one of the few skill checks where treachery is always positive. But she's also going to play political prowess. Play before making a skill check triggered by a location, which there are 4 locations that have skill checks on them. Well, 3 actually in this case. There's Admiral's Quarters, the airlock, and the brig. Depending on what version you're playing, you also might have administration. Anyway, also there's also the new Caprica locations as well if you happen to be playing with those. In any case, do not make the skill check. Instead, it automatically passes or fails, your choice. She's going to pick pass. She's going to target Gaius Baltar and kill him. So he's going to be executed. So at this point, he would reveal that he is a Cylon, or not a Cylon. Since he got executed and he's a human, they're going to lose 1 morale. And let's learn this all together, shall we? I did look it up to kind of check a few things. Now, he does get to keep his once per game. That does carry over to whoever he plays as next. Anyway, so execution. He discards his hand of skill cards. Quorum cards are not affected. So he's going to go ahead and discard all of these. Okay. Prove loyalty. If 1 or more player loyalty cards are you are a Cylon, he reveals 1. If 1 or more of the player's loyalty cards is a you are a Cylon card, he reveals 1 of them and gives all remaining face down loyalty cards to a human player of his choice. He then proceeds to step 4 of blah blah blah. If all players' loyalty cards are you are not a Cylon, he reveals all of them and proceeds to step 3, which is human. So we lose 1 morale, which we did already. The player returns his character token to the game box and can no longer be used in the game. So Gaius Baltar is gone. Okay, Gaius Baltar is gone. If Boomer is executed, this is not Boomer, the player then chooses a new character, placing them in his starting location. He may choose any character without regard to character type, including Cylon leaders. However, the player should consider the identities of known humans and suspected Cylons when selecting his character. If the player already used his once per game ability, the new character's once per game ability will not be available for use. Each player only gets to use 1 once per game ability, regardless of number of characters he plays. Okay, so he does keep his once per game. Presidency is obviously going to carry over to somebody else at this point, which is actually going to be Callie. Callie is next line in session. But I'll make sure. If you had any mutiny cards, you would discard them, but we don't have any mutiny cards. Anyway, just going to check one last thing. Yes, President Callie is just above Doc, and even though they probably think that Callie's a Cylon, they can't really do anything about it right now. And, well, everyone knows. Now, some people will, execution's going to be a bit cheesy. Just to kind of get that out of the way. Like, people can just execute each other at the cost of just a morale just to figure out who the Cylon is. Some people house rule some stuff, like adding extra loyalty cards in, just in case. But since this is a 3-player game and it's pretty obvious who the Cylon is, we're just going to keep going as is. Alright. I'm just going to make sure I do all this right. Sorry, it's the first time I've actually executed somebody. Actually, it might have been. I don't remember. In any case, discard cards. You don't draw a new hand. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about drawing a new hand, it doesn't look like. Yeah. Okay, so Gaius Baltar's dead. He gets to pick a new character, though. He'll just go with Chief, I guess. Might as well get him in there. We'll get Chief in. We still have our once per game. Chief starts out in the hangar deck. And they know he's not a Cylon, so that's the good news. Bad news is they know Callie's a Cylon, and she just wrecked somebody. All right. It then goes to technically Callie still hasn't revealed herself, so we still go by Crisis. The President chooses -1 morale, and the President may choose one player to move from the brig to command, or -1 fuel, and the President draws 2 quorum cards. She is the President. She'll pick -1 fuel and 2 quorum cards. Assign Vice President. She might not be interested in that. Eulogy. Not really interested in that either. So yeah, Vice President will allow you to ensure that the next line of succession is decided. And the other one is just it prevents the... If someone gets executed and morale is lost, you can play it to immediately... Or not immediately, but you can play it later on to regain a morale. Which she's not going to do. Alright, and Raiders activate, so they're going to move up. And we do get a jump prep, though. Alright, sorry, this is pretty hectic. I just saw the opportunity. I was like, you know, I wanted to play passively at the start and then kind of let things go to the sleeper phase, but no, Callie's going all in. She's just going to murder people. Alright, at this point it goes to Chief. So Chief gets to draw his full hand. No skill checks, unfortunately, so he gets to play around a bit. He can try to do Admiral's Quarters, and he might have enough to do it. It's green and purple. Yeah, they need to do something to get keep Callie out of this. Airlock is not really an option. Alright, so he's going to go to Admiral's Quarters. Oh yeah, political prowess has been resolved. Alright, he's going to go ahead and activate it. So it's going to be a skill check, so we need to add some cards. Like, they need to do something with her, because if she gets another turn, she's just going to murder someone with her once per game ability. Alright, what do we got? Alright, so we're going to add 2 cards. Green and purple are the only things positive. We just need a 7 or higher to throw Callie in jail. Obviously, Galen's going to target freaking Callie here. Alright, let's do this. So, first it goes to Doc. He's going to put 1 card in. It's really the only thing he can do. And then Callie is going to put in 2 cards. She has to put in at least 2 if she's going to put any in. She's going to obviously spike it. And then Chief is going to go ahead and put what he has in here. And then we'll see what we get. Alright. That's -4. -1. +3. +5. +3. +7. And red tape, which cancels out 5s and 6s. Which there are no 5s and 6s. These will be canceled. Okay, so these are this will cancel out that, and that leaves behind 7 points exactly, enough to throw her in jail. She gets thrown in brig. Alright. At this point, CAG and Admiral are going to get given to the next line of succession. Which the line of succession, I think it's going to be Chief. Yep, Chief is for both of them. I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Yeah, Chief is literally the Chief. He is top of the supports. So he gets all of that. As much fun it would have been to throw some nukes around. Okay. So that's all resolved. Let's go ahead and put away the cards. Okay. And then it goes to Chief's phase. Current player chooses. We can do a skill check, which they can't really do. Or the current player draws one mutiny card and he chooses a player to draw. Then he chooses a player to draw one mutiny card. This can be pretty dangerous. But failing, it's -1 morale. And we're at 9 morale at the moment. So what he'll probably do is probably go ahead and pick the or option. Current player has to draw a mutiny card. I've already shuffled the mutiny cards, so we'll go ahead and draw one. Make a deal. And then he has to pick somebody else to get a mutiny card as well. And this is where it gets really dangerous because... Actually, I think the -1 morale will probably be better. You know what? I'm going to take it back. Yes, I saw the card already, but honestly, -1 morale would be better. So the issue with the mutiny cards is if you get 2, you get thrown in the brig, and that gets messy really quickly. So yeah, we'll do the skill check. Sorry about that. Should have been no take backsies, but that's okay. In any case, they're just going to fail it on purpose. Doc is going to pass. Callie's not really interested in this. Will pass. And then Chief will pass. So let's see what we get. +1. Could we actually have done it? Maybe if he threw everything at it. But they're just going to take the losses. 2 raiders get out of the front thanks to the Dratus contact. And then we get -1 morale. Also, that is the wrong color. Okay. Yeah, sorry, this looks kind of blue, but it's actually tactics, so it should be in here. Alright, so also this should be over here and there. Okay, so got the -1 morale, which is a bit not great. The current player draws 1, and then after that, raiders activate. And we get a jump prep. Okay. Sorry if it's a little messy. Anyway, it goes to Doc. Doc will draw 1 politics. 2 tactics. And 2 engineering. Alright. Alright, so what Doc's going to go ahead and do for his turn is, yeah, he's going to go all in. He's going to go ahead and go to airlock. Discard a launch scout. Actually, he'll discard a repair. Discard repair. He's going to go ahead and activate the airlock. He's going to target, of course, Callie, who's in the brig, so the DC is 8. Callie can't really do anything about this. So Callie's not going to play any cards. There's no reason to. Chief is going to go ahead and play a card. Doc is also going to play cards. He wants this to be done with. Alright, well, we'll see what we get. Alright, we got a bait. +1. Positives, by the way, is treachery, politics, and tactics. So +6, +3, +8, and +11. So the DC is only 8 because the character is in the brig, so this will be an execution. She'll obviously reveal that she is a Cylon. Presidency will be passed on. She would discard all of her cards, so she'll discard her last card. She does not get a Super Crisis, which is the good news. And then as for the next line of succession, I believe it's Chief. I'm fairly certain it's Chief. Chief is, yep, Chief is now president, among other things. He's got quite stuff to play around with. For the sake of simplicity, we don't really need to worry about these Cylon cards anymore, because we already know who the Cylon is. The Miracle Token does not matter anymore. And Kal-E will end up in the Resurrection ship. Alright. We do add a civilian ship to the back of the Galactica due to bait. Everything else is good to go. So they took care of the Cylon problem. But now they have other Cylon problems to deal with. So this will be a game where literally the Cylon is revealed from the very start, which has its own implications, I guess. But with things like the Cylon Fleet board, it might be in their favor. Anyway, now it's going to go straight into Crisis. Current player chooses. Roll a die and -1 morale, or do a skill check, which DC is 7. That might be doable. Alright, they're going to do the skill check. And they're just going to, both of them agree they're just going to throw all of their engineering at this. Alright, so Chief goes first. He's going to put in 2 cards. And then Doc is going to put in 2 cards as well. Shuffle, shuffle. Calculations. Okay, so I'm not going to total these up yet because I already know there's a established network in here. Alright, so with established network, it doubles the strength of all engineering cards. So this is going to end up being 2, 6, 16, 17. So this was 17, 15. So the total is 15 points, which is a super overkill, but at least it's a pass. Battlestar is going to fire. It misses, and then we do get a jump prep. And there you go. Heck of a start. Alright, it's our Cylon's turn. Unfortunately, she didn't get to shoot somebody, but she did get to execute a person. So there's that, I guess. Alright, so she gets to only draw 1 card. She's just going to pick a treachery card. Kind of get that started. And she's going to get... I could stay in the Resurrection ship and get a Super Crisis. That's really tempting. But I think what I want... If the roll is less than the number of raiders. Okay, I think it's either I was going to go ahead and activate the I can activate raiders. I can launch raiders or a heavy raider from each base star, or activate all of one type. The other option, of course, is I can look at the Crisis and Destination deck and mess with those a bit and draw some skill cards. Or I can start just going all in with the base star bridge here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do base star bridge. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I get to activate 2 of the following abilities. So I'm going to go with roll a die. If it's less than the number of raiders on the game board, do damage the Galactica, essentially. So she's going to go ahead and roll. We have 5 raiders on the board, so 4 or less. Okay, that's a damage. They do get to pick if it's going to be Galactica or the Pegasus. They are going to pick... Usually it would be Pegasus, but it could throw Doc into freaking sickbay, is the problem. Yeah, they're going to say Pegasus. Alright, so we're going to draw 2 of these and choose one to resolve. Alright, that is... okay, so, so we get to pick one. We're going to pick Airlock. Doc is in the airlock, so he's going to go be sent to sickbay. Which is actually kind of beneficial to him, to be honest. Yeah, it is kind of beneficial, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, and then I get to pick another thing. It has to be a different one. I'm going to do the roll a die on a 1 to 3, decrease the jump track, 4 to 8, increase the pursuit track. Alright, this will increase the pursuit track. The CAG has to place a civvy ship down. So he's going to place one there. And that is it. Alright, goes to Chief. Chief is going to go ahead and draw his full set. Alright, so things are getting a little dicey here. He's going to go ahead and go to the hangar deck. He's going to go ahead and repair and get some Mark 7s active. He can then, his special abilities, he can use take another action afterwards. So he's going to take another action, and he's going to do an executive orders on Doc. And then Doc is going to go ahead and get himself to command and activate it. He's going to go ahead and send out a Assault Raptor and then move it 1. So he activated it twice. Alright. Goes to Crisis. Rebuild Trust. Skill check. Not much we can do about it. Each character in the brig may move to any location in the Galactica, otherwise it's -2 morale. Okay. First is Doc, and Doc doesn't have anything to play. Callie... I'm gonna go ahead and just play bait. It's not that useful to her right now. And then for Chief, Chief cannot pass this by himself. He just can't. Oh, actually, yeah, he can. Yeah, he's actually gonna do a reckless. This is the first time I actually need it. Each human player with 4 or less skill cards in their hand may draw 2 skill cards. So. Yeah, with 4 or less, that's everybody. So Doc is going to get 2 cards of his choice. He's just going to pick some leadership. Actually, no, is it his choice? Draw 2 skill cards. I think it has to be within a skill check. I don't know if it has to be or not. I'll check. Okay, so I confirmed to support the people, you have to pick cards from your skill set. So Doc is just going to grab some politics to help out with the check. Chief will grab some leadership. Callie is not a human player anymore, so she doesn't get anything. Reckless does happen, and it does trigger. So once a civvy ship is added to the back, for those who don't remember, the way Reckless works, you take the top card from the treachery deck and reveal it. If it's a 0-cost skill, you activate it, you draw another card, and you activate both effects. If it's not a 0-cost, nothing happens. So the civvy ship's been added, and then we have to add 2 more raiders to the front. Okay, that resolves reckless. Okay. Anyway, so with that change, Doc will actually put a card in. And Chief is going to go ahead and just throw everything he's got at this, because he doesn't know what card Callie put in. Alright, shuffle, shuffle. Let's see what we get. +3, +7, Iron Will, +9, +7, +10, and Bait, which adds a civvy ship to the back. Alright, so that was 10 total, which is just barely a pass. Didn't really need to do the Iron Will. Each player in the brig location can move to any other location. No one's in the brig. And we get to resolve all of this. Okay, Raiders activate. These Raiders will actually go down, because that is the closest one. These ones will move in. These ones will move in. So I'm going to shift this down a little bit. Get this little cuddle puddle of Raiders going. No jump prep. Alright. We'll take care of Doc and then we'll see how time is going. Alright. So, goes to Doc. Doc will draw 1 politics. 2 tactics. And 2 engineering. Okay. Alright. Not much to play around with. He's going to go ahead and just stay where he's at and activate command and start shooting down the raiders that are going after the civvy ships using the Assault Raptor. Assault Raptor has the same hit chance as everything else as far as raiders are concerned, so 3 or higher, and he will activate it twice. 1 and 2. So that's 2 raiders down. Goes to Crisis next. Alright. Hybrid and Panic, 12 cost. If we pass it, it's increased jump prep by 1. And with the jump prep that's already on it, that will be enough to get a forced jump. Bad news is they don't really have the means to do this by themselves. But they can always try. So 2 cards are going to get added. Callie has no cards. Chief has 1 card, and he's like, alright, I'll see if we can do it. Doc will go ahead and put in his cards. He's going to take a risk with Trust Instincts and see what happens. +3, +7, +11, Trust Instincts, which we'll deal with in a second. That is +9 now. +14, +16. Alright. I need to do Trust Instincts, which may actually screw us. But we'll see. Well, 2 repairs, which is actually more bonuses, so that is a pass. Surprisingly enough, that actually worked out. They threw everything they had at it. Which is, I guess it seems like humans do have a little bit of advantage when there's less players, oddly enough, because since this turn cycles so much. I mean, one of the dangers for crises usually is you throw too many cards at something, and then you don't have any cards left, but they're just constantly just throwing their entire hand at the problem, and that seems to work. So, jump prep increases by 1. Then heavy raiders will activate, so 1 gets deployed. Then the jump prep triggers, and we all jump. These go here. These go here. That goes there. These go here. These go to reserves. Assault Raptor stays where it's at. This gets resolved, and then we get 2 destination cards for Chief here. Alright, options are Missed Jump, which is not good. Or Tylilium Planet. Tylium? I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, that is a non-choice right there, so we'll go ahead and get our 1 destination, which is not great. 1 distance. This is why you generally want to try to get some, scouts out so you can actually see what's up ahead. Lose 1 fuel, so we're down to 6 now. And we can risk a raptor and roll on a 3 or higher, gain 2 fuel, otherwise destroy a raptor. He's going to go ahead and risk it. On a 3 or higher, gain 2 fuel. So we go back up to max fuel. Or starting fuel, rather. So we're back up to 8. So that's the good news. We got some resources back. Our morale's a little low. And that's about it. We lost a bit of fuel originally, and it kind of just evened out. Alright, well, it's going to be Callie's turn. She's going to draw 2 Treachery. I'm going to go ahead and do the Silent turn, just to get that out of the way. And we'll see what we can do here. Alright, so at this point, there's not much. Roll dive, it's less than the number of raiders. Place 1 base star or 3 raiders in any one area on this game board. I think she's going to go ahead and activate the base star bridge. What she's going to do is she's going to go ahead and roll a die and see if she can increase the pursuit track. So 4 to 8 is what she's looking for. 4 to 8, so that increases the pursuit track by 1. And then the other thing she's going to do is place 1 base star or 3 raiders in any one area on this game board. Do I want to do that? I actually don't. No, we're going to do CAG. CAG must place a civilian ship following the placement rules. So CAG will place a civvy ship right here. Okay. So the civvy ship situation is actually kind of out of control. The Assault Raptor is at least out, because it does jump with you. But yeah, things are getting ugly. Let me check where I'm at on time. Alright, good enough for me. I'm the Depressed Eeyore. This is Battlestar Galactica, using all support characters. And when we come back, we'll see if they can get any further. See you guys next time.